Hey guys, as you know, this is the last episode in the month of January, and traditionally, I have always brought on my good friend Laura Shipman to talk about the state of social media. This year is no different. Enjoy the episode.
Hello, and welcome to Marketing Solutions for Local Businesses, the podcast where you will discover all the latest and greatest digital marketing tools, tips, and strategies you will need to implement in order to stay ahead of your competition. If you are not getting the results you are looking for from your digital marketing efforts, this is the podcast for you. And now, here's the host of our show, the local business guy himself, Frank Deming.
Hello, everyone. This is Frank Deming, the local business guy, and welcome to another episode of Marketing Solutions for Local Businesses. Happy Wednesday. Happy Hump Day, everyone. I hope you guys are having a rockin' week thus far. Today is the last episode of the first month of this year, 2023. And I wanted to make sure that we are on point, on track for all of your social media needs. So I am going to bring in the guru of all gurus, and we're going to talk about the state of social media. So this woman needs no introduction because she's been on this show several times. So Laura, how's it going?
It's going great, Frank. Thank you so much for having me back again. It's always so good to be here. Always have so much fun with you.
It's always great to have you here. So for the people who don't know yet, I've gained a huge following over the past 6 months there, Laura. And I know we do this show, or this segment, I should say, every 6 months. So who are you and what do you do?
Well, my name is Laura Shipman, and I am a social media manager, strategist, content creator, and I work with lots of different types of industries to help them be seen on social media, get the exposure that they need, and connect with their target audience.
You forgot to add that you're very humble because she's the guru of all gurus when it comes to social media.
You're too kind.
So for 2 years in a row, Laura, this segment has been either in the top, it has been in the top 3 of most downloaded episodes, and I don't think this year will be any different. So this is season 4 of this podcast. And you've been doing this now. This will be your 3rd season doing it. So thanks for doing this.
That's amazing. I just love hearing those numbers. That's incredible. Thank you.
Awesome. So what is the state of social media? How are we going to bedazzle these listeners today?
Yeah, well, I always love talking about trends, especially at the beginning of the year, right? So that gives us like a forecast or a vision of what we can expect in the coming year and how you should position your brand and your business so that you're getting the most out of your social media efforts. And so I've zeroed in on 5 trends that I think we can expect to see a lot of activity in 2023. And I want to give you guys some advice on how you can make these trends really work for you, especially if they're trends that you haven't tried before. And
awesome.
if you're okay, I'll just go ahead and dive right in.
Go rock and roll, man. Knock our socks off, as they say.
Sounds good. So the first trend I'm going to bring up, and I bring it up as number 1 for a reason, because I think it's the one that intimidates people the most, and it's not going away, and it's short form video. So think about TikTok, YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, Facebook Reels, even LinkedIn has space for video. So a lot of these, social media platforms are making room for video. They actually pay a lot of attention to video. And there's some ways you can do that without actually showing your face. So if you're a little camera shy and you don't like to show up in front of the camera, you can do lots of different things to fulfill that video slot. And some of those might just be animating, some posts, some graphics and things like that. You can do that easily in a program called Canva, and you can try that out for free. Just go to canva.com, CANV as in Victor, A.com, and put together a little graphic, but then click the animation button and it'll give you pretty easy ways to animate that graphic so you can stop the scroll. And that's what we're trying to do on social media, is basically get your audience to stop scrolling through those feeds and pay attention to what your content is. Now,
So let's I don't want to slow you down there. I know you're on the road, but let me ask you something. In all honesty, yes, that's a way of doing it. But would you advise that other than putting your face out there?
No, I mean, I think the number one thing you should do is put your face out there, because that humanizes your brand. It helps you connect with your brand, your target audience. It builds that know, like, trust factor that we always try to do in business. In social media, it's really hard to get that connection because it's all digital, right? It's all posting and content and text and things like that. So the more that you can actually put your face in front of your target market, the better off you are.
I asked you that for a particular reason, because there's a particular gentleman that I need to share this episode with, so they know that it's not just me saying it. But all right, continue.
Well, actually, and if I could backtrack, but that's really good. But if I could backtrack for that person that you're trying to talk to about this, if you're looking at, say, like the professions, like from doctors to lawyers to any sort of a consultant, those type of people really need to get in front of their target audience and really have their faces seen, because people will resonate with that, right? They get to know your expressions. They're going to get to know who you are and how you think about business and how you're going to treat them, your customer, your client, as a customer and client. They're going to be able to see exactly how you're going to take care of them. And it's easier to see that in a video than it is through a picture or words or a hashtag, if that helps at all. So, yep. Okay, perfect. The next trend that I think has been a sleeper for the last couple of years, and people are starting to take the time to pay more attention to it, is LinkedIn. It has been slowly growing in popularity with businesses and stuff. Like, a lot of people just used it as a resume kind of thing in the past, but now it's getting a little bit more popular. And I think we'll see LinkedIn grow in popularity in 2023. So if you've ignored it, or if you haven't been so consistent on LinkedIn, I think 2023 is the year to really make LinkedIn a priority. And some of the things that I think people should be doing on LinkedIn in 2023 is, first off, use all the resources available to you on LinkedIn. And there's so many resources and so many ways that you can post content on LinkedIn. You can do the standard posts. You can do the video posts like we talked about. You could do some animations, but featured articles are a big deal on LinkedIn. So if you want to write an article, it's almost like a blog post on LinkedIn. Put that out there and take the time to build out that article. And what I mean by that is, think of a really good title, something that, is catchy, something that is a really good hook that's going to draw your target audience in. Think about a good graphic or image that accompanies that article. And then and I think this is the same in the SEO world, I'm not 100% sure, but break your article down into headings, right? So it's scannable. So people can kind of see what the different topics are you're going to address in your article, and they get the information and the value. Is that true in SEO world stuff?
Yeah, well, not from an SEO perspective, in terms of the search engines, but for the reader perspective, yes.
And it makes your content that much more popular, because you are making it easy for your target audience to get to the points that are really important to them. So you may have like 5 paragraphs or 5 subheadings that you're going to discuss in this article. Make sure they're like using the font size for headings, and that they're bolded, and that they're also addressing pain points or solutions, or whatever is going to draw that reader in, so they can scan the document and go right there. When you're talking about LinkedIn posts, I like to say you want to keep it short, sweet, and spicy. And sometimes I even have a hard time with that, because I just want to give people so much value that I forget that this we have a very short amount of attention span, and it's important for people to get the information that they came there to get. So what you want to do is get to the point and get there quickly, as fast as you can, and just give them that punch of value every time you post.
How many words are you talking about here? Just out of curiosity.
That's a good question. So I think in characters, because a lot of the social media apps think in characters too. They give you a maximum of 3,000 characters. That's a lot of characters. That's a lot of words. Yeah. So I try and stay as much as I can under 1,000 characters. Now that still sounds like a lot, but the way that I like to format my LinkedIn posts is I might do like an introductory couple of lines, 2 or 3 lines, and then I like to hit them with bullet points. So every time you hit that carriage return, that counts as a space or a character. So I'm trying to actually create a scannable post for my audience so they can just kind of scan, and then I talk in bullet points, and those bullet points tend to take up character space. So I think if you can hit 1,000 characters or less and still make the content make sense and give value, go for it. Is that
awesome?
Makes sense. And then when we're talking, and I did some research, and you and I have talked about this before, but when I was looking for what 2023 was going to look like for me and for the clients I serve, I wanted to look at hashtags on LinkedIn. And it was really hard to find some really good information or intel on hashtags for LinkedIn. And you have to walk a very fine line between being spammy and being, using hashtags to get the maximum amount of exposure. Now, I found a study that said 3 hashtags would be a good place to start. And here's how they broke down the 3 hashtags.
And you're talking about LinkedIn here, right?
LinkedIn only, right? Yes. And that's very important to understand because other social media apps have other rules, but we're talking strictly LinkedIn here. So you want to use 3, and we break these 3 hashtags down into a broad category, a niche category, and then a very niche category. So what does that look like? Well, let's say I'm trying to talk about marketing here. And so I'm going to break my 3 niches or my 3 hashtags down to a broad hashtag is going to be marketing, just general terms. So I want to attract people who are interested in marketing. Then I really want my niche is going to be small business marketing.
Okay.
And then if I want to break it down one more time, let's say I want to attract lawyers. So I might use hashtag marketing as my number 1. My second one might be hashtag small business marketing, because what I'm going to talk about is going to apply to all industries, but I'm going to zero in on lawyers. So I'm going to do hashtag marketing for lawyers. So now I've really told people what I'm talking about. So think in terms of that when you're creating content in the future about whatever it is you're writing. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Sure does.
Okay. Then one more tip for LinkedIn is you want to know what's trending on LinkedIn with your target audience. So what you want to do is go to your business page on LinkedIn, and you can click on a button that says content or content suggestions. And when you do that, it'll give you some options to pick an industry, to pick maybe like a title, a position, somebody's position, and see what articles and what content is populating under there and what people are talking about. And you can see what's most important to your audience when you look at that.
Okay.
So those are some trends that I would use when you're working on LinkedIn. Give it a shot. And I would say post about 3 times a week. Don't make it too hard for yourself to stay consistent, because consistency is always key in social media. And I like to tell people, if you can't commit to every day, posting every day, post 3 days. And that's true for most of the social media apps. Twitter's a little different. It's a different beast altogether. But a main rule of thumb is aim for 3 times a week. It gives you a good cadence, and it gives you, a good rhythm to connect with your target market.
So let's stay on that for a second before we move on. What if you have a client of yours that says, you know what, Laura, I like the whole 3, but I rather 1. I really just want to do it on Mondays. What would you say to that?
I would say I would really hesitate because I think the algorithms are going to look at you differently. I think your target market's going to look at you differently. What you want to try and do with your target market is you want to position yourself as that go-to expert in your field, right? Mm-hmm. So you want to make sure that you're showing up for them and you're building that know, like, and trust. And it's really hard to do that with just one post a week. And you're fighting everybody else who is being more consistent with more volume. Now, that's not to say just post for posting's sake. You want to make sure you're providing value every time you post. Mm-hmm. So, but then let's say maybe let's take this another step though. Let's say they only want to do one post a week, but they said, but I'm also going to include video and I'm also going to include a feature article. I would count that as 3 because at least they're showing up 3 different ways within the app. Does that make sense?
Yes. Got it.
Okay, cool. All right. So that's kind of all I had for LinkedIn before we move on to the next trend. So we did short form video and we did LinkedIn. The number.
Wait. Mm-hmm. Before we leave LinkedIn, as you know, that's my playground. I love LinkedIn. So, and my audience knows I love LinkedIn as well. Mm-hmm. Question: mm-hmm. What about newsletters? Do you know anything about newsletters on LinkedIn? Like, what's your take on them?
I don't know a lot about newsletters on LinkedIn, but I do know that newsletters are not going away. So for example, if you have it tied to an email marketing campaign mm-hmm. or another trend that I was not going to talk about during this episode, but I'll bring it up, is gated content is going to be very popular in 23, meaning that you might go ahead and write like a small blurb and say, if you want more, click this link or follow this link to whatever. Mm-hmm. And it brings you to a landing page where people will fill out their information and get the newsletter or sign up or get the rest of the story. So I know that's something that's also going to be trending this year. But I think I've seen newsletters in there. I think I've actually used them. So I think there's value there for sure. Mm-hmm. You look at other apps like Medium. Do you know Medium?
Yes.
Quora,
Medium.
All of that stuff. Mm-hmm. And they have like really good article writers in there. And sometimes I get frustrated because I'm not like a paid member or paid subscriber to Medium, for example, and I only get so many free articles a month or whatever. Mm-hmm. I think that is a gap to fill on LinkedIn. If you've got like a great writer who, is appealing to your target audience and can provide newsletters like that, mm-hmm. I would say go for it.
Gotcha.
So, and it's a good way to use. What's that?
So more on that in 6 months, right? You're gonna update us.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think that's a great way to go. Definitely. And, just from a keyword standpoint, when you write any sort of long form content like that, it really supports your keyword strategy. Mm-hmm. And I think it's a great way to connect with people through keywords, as long as you're not doing the whole keyword stuffing thing. But which is another topic for another day.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so our third trend that I wanted to talk about was short form content. And this is every year we've seen that. We just talked about that with that 1,000 characters or less, mm-hmm. Or less. You want to get to the point and get there quickly. And sometimes what I like to do is a mini infographic as a post. So if I'm going to give people the 5 social media trends of 2023, what I might do is just create a little graphic that had those 5 trends right in the graphic. So people can get the information that they're looking for and save it or, like it or engage with it some way, and then put the detail down in the written post. I think infographics, that's how Pinterest started, right?
Really?
They were like huge into infographics, like people, and it was a great way. I loved the original Pinterest because you would get all of these infographics sitting there, and it was just a great way to digest a topic. And so I would give those a try. They don't have to be really ornate and complicated and intricate. It just needs to be something scannable for your audience to get the value that they're looking for. Now, I know I kind of shocked you last year or 6 months ago when I think you asked me something about either what my favorite social media app was or which one that I think is going to take over or something like that. And I said, TikTok. And you're like, what? That
Yeah.
came
Well,
out
actually, you know what's funny? That was during our season 2.
was it?
Yeah, that's when I almost fell off my chair.
Yeah, you weren't excited. So I've got another one for you. And I think if you haven't heard of it yet, you will. And if you've got kids, they already know about it and they're already using it. And we're late on getting on the bus on this one. But it's called Be Real. Have you heard of that?
You mentioned Be Real 6 months ago. Yes.
Did I mention that one too?
But you said you were looking into it because your daughter was using it. Mom is trying to be real. I remember the whole conversation. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. And so, but this is the way social media, I think, is going to be moving, because have you ever seen those memes where people say, and this is why social media isn't real, because everything's been filtered, everything's has some sort of, what is it called? Face tuned. Everything's been face tuned out and everybody looks perfect on social media. People are getting tired of that. They want organic content. And this Be Real app is kind of, I think, setting the way for that. They're going to be the people, the renegades, and who are going to force people to be real. And so I think you'll see more organizations, more companies, more brands hop on this Be Real bandwagon, whether it's within the Be Real app or on Instagram or LinkedIn. People just want to see organic content, in the moment, organic content that's been unedited. And I think,
out of curiosity, is Be Real spelt authentically? Is it BREAL or is it REEL, just to play on words?
No, it's REAL. Okay. And what's cool about that is there is no editing available within the app. So kind of what you see is what you get, and it's all photographs. There's no video. And so
interesting. What's the demographic on that?
It's Gen Z for right now, for the majority of it. But, Gen Z now, and this is important to note, is slowly making their way into the workforce, right? Yep. So these people are bringing their creativity, they're bringing their tech savviness and all of that into the workforce. And they're also wanting that transparency, that organic transparency. And so you will see a lot of these Gen Zers using TikTok and Be Real as a marketing avenue for the brands and the companies they're working for.
It's funny you say that, because and I'll put a link in the notes here. I wrote a blog post last year around October, I believe, about the impact of Gen Zers in the workplace, and I got a lot of traffic.
Did you? Well, it's true, and it's my daughter's Gen Z, and I'm watching her going through finding her first job and doing all of these things. And it's funny, the fact that they want to be remote, but also have like connection. It's just it's a whole different way of approaching work-life balance, the culture in the workplace, all of this stuff, and actually making connections on like Zoom video, things like that, and video through apps or connections through apps and things. It's just interesting to watch. It is interesting how they're going to change the face of the workplace for sure.
Yeah.
So,
wow.
I know.
Incredible.
I know. Very cool. All right. So we did short form video, LinkedIn, short form content, the emergence of Be Real or authentic, genuine content. The fifth one is customer care. And more people are going to depend on app messaging for customer care. And if I could give any advice to anybody out there who's running any sort of social media app or page for their business, pay attention to the messages that come into that app's inbox. I can't tell you how many businesses I see who ignore that. Gen Z is big on that. They want to it's easier for them to get on their phone, type a question, and wait for the response to come back than actually pick up the phone and make a phone call. So there's going to be more and more dependence on communication or customer care through the app messaging system.
It's funny you say that, because, and it's probably because of my ignorance of other applications. The only way I've ever seen that work for me in terms of effectiveness is through LinkedIn. Oh, really? Where I'm actually out there chatting with someone who's a potential customer, and that interaction within the application's messaging system actually worked for me. Now, probably didn't give it enough time on Facebook and Instagram, but it has not yielded any kind of form of success for me there. It could be me, but what have you seen out there?
It could be the nature of your business though too. So where I see it, because I have a lot of different types of industries as clients. My restaurant clients, huge into that, because they'll ask things like, what are the specials tonight? It's Friday night. What are the specials tonight? Do you have drink specials?
What?
Absolutely. Can I make a reservation? Am I able to place a to-go order through Facebook Messenger? I get that all the time. Another one I have is an acupuncturist. Same thing. They'll ask questions, about what services do you provide? Are you able to do, cosmetic acupuncture? Are you able to do it's auricular acupuncture, which is acupuncture through the ear? Like they'll ask these questions.
And see it through acupuncturists, but restaurants, I'm blown away. You almost gave me a TikTok moment there, Laura. You almost knocked me off my chair.
You should. Yeah, my restaurant clients, like their message inbox is like crazy busy all the time. And then the nursery, I have a nursery that I also manage. Same thing. Because, plants come and go pretty quickly. And so they want to know before they drive out to the garden center, do you have this in stock? Is this in stock?
Right.
When do you get your arrivals? So I think it depends. Maybe B2B customers don't get that as much as B2C. So it could be, but yeah. So I think you'll see people try and message the apps more. I'd be interested to hear what your audience says about that. If they're experiencing questions through the apps that they use.
Reach out, guys. You know how to get a hold of me. Reach out at info@lbmsllc.com. Email us about this particular episode. And I'd like to let Laura know because, as you know, she'll be back in 6 months. So let's talk about that. But that's interesting to me because other than LinkedIn, I've never gotten that. Now, I've gotten customer interaction within my website, yes, but not never on Facebook, Instagram, and that's all I have. Other than I have had interaction in Alignable. I know we don't talk about Alignable a lot, but I have. But those are hyper local. Those are people literally 3-mile radius from my office. We're just curious about, but they're generic questions like, "Hey, are you anywhere near blah 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 restaurant? Because I want to come in and talk to you or whatever." But never about business. So LinkedIn has been the only thing that I get that kind of interaction, which is interesting.
That's cool. It'd be interesting to see what they say.
Yeah,
that's awesome. All right, so those were my 5 trends. And I have 3 takeaways and maybe a final bit of advice I'd love to share with the audience, if that's possible. Okay.
Yes. We have a lot of time.
Okay, cool. The 3 things that I would love for people to take away and really apply to their 2023 social media is to focus on real life stories with relatable problems that offer a solution. So put yourself into your target audience's shoes and just ask yourself, what are the things that they're struggling with most? How can I create a real life story about that through examples and with like a solution that they might be able to try in the future for themselves? So that's one takeaway. Real life stories, real life situations, tell that story to your target audience. The second thing is step away from over-processed content. And what I mean is be more organic, realistic. So if you're in your office, take a selfie. Take a deskie. When you take a picture of your desk, what my desk looks like right now. Let them get to know you. Let them get to know what your environment is like and what it's like to be authentically working with you. And the third, because we miss that on social media, right? People don't get to see what it's like. You want your audience to feel like they really know you, like they're a friend on the other end of the screen, that they see you. And then
I like that.
You like that? Oh, good. I'm glad. I hope that resonates with a lot of people and that they're thinking about, okay, how can I make that come true with my social media content? And the third thing is consistency. You know, start because what you want to do is make sure that you show yourself as somebody who is being dependable, because that's how you would be in the working world with them. If like you would show up on time every time you said you were going to show up, be that consistent with your content, because whatever content, that's what they're going to see first, right? And they're going to see how consistent you are, and they're going to form a narrative about you, your business, your brand, and what it's like to work with you based on how consistent you are on social media and how they interact with you and how you respond to them. A lot of people will forget to respond back to people who engage with their content. Make sure you do that and be consistent with that.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I get usually, and this is my kind of my final piece of advice to people, people get stuck in what kind of content they should be creating for their social media pages. Mm-hmm. And I said, what you really want to do is look at the content that you're attracted to, right? What are the things that suck you in and make you go down the rabbit hole? And all of a sudden you look up and you're like, okay, where did that hour go? I was on social media. Why was I there? Or maybe you were on social media, you clicked on something and it took you to a landing page somewhere. Why did that happen for you? If it worked for you, chances are that's going to work for your target audience. So kind of think about, really look at that piece, those pieces of content that you see out in the social media world, which ones really attract you, and figure out why, like break it down. What was it? Was it the hook? Was it the graphics? Was it the value? Was it the solution? Was it where they brought me next? What was it? And figure that out. That'll help you create the best content for your business, because chances are your target audience is a lot like you.
It's good advice. I actually do that from time to time. I say, oh, well, that's like, for instance, I saw this, I've been following this. Are you familiar with Jasper AI?
Yes.
Yeah. So I've been following that thing for a while. But it's very bland marketing that they do. But it was this other company that came in front of me, and it was pretty cool. It's called Word Hero. I don't know if you ever heard of them, but their marketing was exceptional.
Really?
And they, to your point, made me stop the scroll. And I bought from them and not Jasper. Now Jasper's been in my reel for forever, but I actually bought from the other one. So to your point, it really, you gotta somehow you have to somehow know how to wow your potential customer. And if that caught you, what can you create that's going to wow your potential customer?
Yep. Yeah. Take a page from their book. Don't copy them. Don't plagiarize them. Make it your own. But get the inspiration from them, because that's going to really help you in the long run.
But you also have to know who your target audience is too.
You do. You definitely do.
And, will that wow them? You could give it a shot. Who knows?
Sure. The other thing too is I have this one client, they're medical AI, and we always do, some sort of graphic or whatever. And one day she gave me this study and she's like, I'd really like to do something along, with this. I said, let's just do the study without any graphics, because what that does is it interrupts the feed, right? And people are used to seeing like graphic after graphic after graphic, and then they don't. And then that makes them stop for a minute and and pay attention. So anytime you can interrupt the predictable with the unpredictable, I think you also win too.
Yep, that's true. That's true. What I tell you guys, the guru of all gurus when it comes to social media, Laura Shipman.
Thank you.
So before we go on to our next line of questioning here, Laura, is there anything else you want to bedazzle us with? Is there anything that you think we should pay attention in the next 6 months, and then we'll get updated 6 months from now, or you think we hit the nail on the head already?
I think we hit the nail on the head already. What would be kind of fun is if we could sometime you and I do like a Q&A session. Like if your audience listens to these things and they listen to what I'm talking about, and then they had like further questions or something, and we just did like a Q&A session. I think that would be cool.
Yep. I'm up for the challenge. Let's
That'd
do
be
it.
fun. That'd
Let's
be
schedule
fun.
something like that out.
Yeah.
All right. So this part of the interview is get to know Laura Shipman a little bit more.
Okay.
We'll put her on the spot here. I just got some general, just 4 questions. Okay. Nothing too crazy. Last time I was easy on you because I knew all of those answers. This time I'm not going to be so easy on you. So
okay, challenge.
Buckle up.
Buckle up, Buttercup.
What is the best advice you've ever received? Could be personal or it could be business.
Just start somewhere. Like, you know what I mean? Don't overthink it. Just start. So, and I think sometimes I tend to overthink it. I think a lot of people do, especially in the business world. I think we overanalyze. And I think if you just have that idea, just rip off that Band-Aid and start.
Just start.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. Simple yet powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Question number 2, best business book you've ever read.
Ooh, that's really hard. I've read so many of them. Gosh, I'm going to say I have a favorite business author in a way. Like I love Brian Tracy.
Mm-hmm.
You ever read his stuff? And I love Brian Tracy and I love Zig Ziglar. Those 2 people, mm-hmm. I don't have a favorite book of theirs, but I've always taken something away from anything I've ever read from them. Even if it's a Zig Ziglar quote, it's amazing. But yeah, I don't have a favorite book.
Okay. Well, that's fair.
Oh,
that's fair.
Wait, Jack Canfield. I know there is this one book.
Chicken Soup for the Soul. Yeah.
Well, yeah, he also wrote, oh my gosh, what's the name of that book? It's a really big book. And I have to look it up. We'll come back to it. I'll tell you. Do you know which one I'm talking about?
We can come back to it. That's
when
cool.
I started my business, I depended on his book because it had so much. Okay, ask me your next question and I'll come back with the book title.
Cool beans.
The Success Principles. That's what it was.
The Success Principles. That's right. I know that book.
It's a
very good book.
It's a good one. Yeah.
So are we listing that as your favorite one?
Yeah, let's list that one.
All right.
Okay.
Question number 3. Your favorite app that you use every day, but it can't be email, it can't be text message, or it can't be social media in your case, since you're the queen of all queens of social media.
Okay. So what I love the most, I think, can I use Canva?
That's fine.
That's allowed? Okay. I open that app up every single day. I can't operate without it. And right behind it is Google Docs. Those are my 2 go-to things to get my world going.
All right. Last but definitely not least, this is really going to get to know Laura Shipman.
Yeah.
What is your favorite vacation spot?
You know this.
I don't know what your favorite spot is.
I don't have a favorite spot, but I have a favorite way to vacation, and that's just a cruise.
Well, that I know. But what's your favorite vacation spot? I told you I wasn't going to make it easy.
No, this one's really hard because I have to say, just getting on a boat, and even if I never get off the cruise ship, I just love that because I can totally disconnect. But I do love, there's this little island called Costa Maya, Mexico. It's in Mexico. Mm-hmm. And we always have such a good time there. And whenever we have a cruise itinerary that has that destination, we always pick that itinerary because we have so much fun there.
Okay. Well, I'll take that.
Costa Maya.
All right. There you go. There you have it, folks. That's getting to know the great Laura Shipman a little bit more. Next time in 6 months, I'm going to ask her some more of this stuff. And before you know it, you guys will know her as much as I do. All right. So with that, folks, this has been Frank Deming, the local business guy. And you will see me next week. But you've also been blessed by the great Laura Shipman, which will connect with her again in 6 months, or maybe before. Maybe I can convince her to do the Q&A session prior to the 6 months. But either way, she'll be back. And you guys have a great 2023. Take care and bye for now. Peace.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Marketing Solutions for Local Businesses, the podcast where you will discover all the latest and greatest digital marketing tools, tips, and strategies you will need to implement in order to stay ahead of your competition. Don't forget, any links that were mentioned during the broadcast will be available to you in the show notes, so be sure to grab them while you have the chance. Incidentally, if you have any topics that you would like for us to discuss on the show, be sure to send an email to the email provided in the show notes, or click the Contact Us link and let us know what topic you would like us to help you with, and we'll be sure to add it to our schedule. If you would like for Frank and his team to look at your digital marketing presence and give you a free evaluation, simply click the Request a Free Consultation link in the show notes to get a hold of them. That being said, until our next episode, make it a successful digital marketing day. Peace out.